everyone. So sorry I couldn't be there to do this live with you, but instead I'm pre-recording for you to enjoy. So just a little bit about me. My name is Heather Glenday and I work at Bordines, which is in Rochester Hills, Michigan, for those of you who aren't from the area. And I got my degree in horticulture. So basically when I was younger, I enjoyed gardening at home and decided that was a field I wanted to go into. Now I work at Bordines, which is one of the largest family owned and operated garden centers in Michigan. And I'm the general manager of our largest store in Rochester Hills. So my passion is really all about perennials, so those plants that come back every year. But I know a little bit about everything. I almost went to be a teacher, so I love educating people about what they can do in their garden, how to relax in your garden, and all of that. That would be my kids in the background. This is what happens when you're a mom, is your kids interrupt you. So I feel all of your pain as parents of children. So I just thought your theme was absolutely brilliant. So time to breathe, a garden gathering. I know you guys are going through a lot with your children having cystic fibrosis. So what are some things that you can do to kind of relax and, have a few minutes to you? Again, I have kids yelling at me across the wall at my parents' house while my mom's videotaping me. You just can never get away, it seems like. So one thing that you have to do is really make time for this. So it's making sure that you're doing it every day or every other day and making yourself do it. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna do it whenever, oh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Like, you gotta really get on the ball and do it every time. So some things you can do as far as gardening goes, I mean, there's so many things you can do. But the first thing that comes to mind with your title, and I was actually reading an article done by Michigan State Extension Service the other day that talks all about mindfulness in the garden. And one of those things was mindful breathing. So it's, and everything with mindfulness goes basically coming out, finding a place where you can really focus on something other than everything else that's going on in your life. So taking the time to focus on something else. So whether, like with breathing, that might be just, finding a patio chair. Go sit out in an area of your patio that you enjoy. Maybe like my front porch I really like because I have a bunch of perennials in front of it, and usually it's quiet because my kids can't find me there half the time. So find a little space. Do you have a little bench in your yard that, maybe you can escape to for 5 minutes while the kids are watching a TV show or they're napping, depending on the age of your kids. And use that time to relax and to breathe. So, and this is even something you could do with the kids. Bring them outside and do the same thing too. So take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. For the kids, tell them they're blowing out birthday candles. It actually happens to be my daughter's 8th birthday today, so we're gonna be doing that in a little bit, blowing out her candles. But great breathing techniques. You can close your eyes if that helps you kind of decompress and not think about everything else that's going on, and take a few minutes to yourself. Close your eyes. It only takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes to kind of reduce your stress, just decompress and have a few minutes for you. It's great for your mental and emotional well-being, and it's easy to do. That's the best thing. And it's honestly a natural tranquilizer that just calms your mind. So easy 5 minutes. Grab a chair. You could be like me, standing here right now with some beautiful plants, because that's what makes me happy, is being with plants. The other thing that came to mind too, I was actually just watering some of my parents' plants, and for me, I love watering. It makes me I don't have to think about anything. Watering's not hard. It doesn't make my brain hurt. So at work, I'm one of the people that loves to water when we're in need of people to water. Do the same thing at home. My dad, on the other hand, loves to weed. I do like to weed though too. I kind of learned that from him. But same thing, maybe weeding is a stress relief. Again, if you can keep your kids inside and nobody's calling your name. That's always the struggle. But again, he would come home from a long day of work and we're like, really, you want to go outside and weed? Okay, go outside and weed. It was just his way to decompress and take some stress off. The other thing to do with gardening is mindful movement. So gardening is obviously great for physical activity. Not only, again, does it reduce stress because you're doing some physical activity, but also it can actually be good for strengthening your bones and building muscle and all of that. So whether it's digging in the garden, whether it's weeding, raking those fall leaves, even maybe for your kids to have a pile that they can jump in, those are all things that are great physical activity, but again, good stress relievers. Bugs. This is what happens when you're in the garden. So if you really are, allergic to bugs, put some bug spray on too. The other thing that I found in this article that I really liked is kind of like this list of things that you can do when you get out there, and it would be something that you can kind of keep top of mind to, again, make sure that you're setting that time apart for yourself. So it says stop, breathe, smile, that always helps, relax, and then let go. So let go, attempt to let go of what's going on, for 5 minutes and give yourself a break. And in general, like we kind of talked about, you're taking the focus off of everything else that's going on and taking that focus into your surroundings. So that could be even paying attention to the colors that you see. What is new in flower that maybe you didn't see before? Do you hear the birds chirping? What do you smell? Maybe tasting things. I know maybe that's not always the best thing to do, but that would always be an option too. So taking in everything that your senses can bring to the table. And again, this doesn't have to be having this garden oasis with a huge patio set and an umbrella and a fancy drink and all of that. Now, it could be, but hey, even just a chair next to a plant or a chair in the back 40 where you're not getting bothered, that's perfect. So how would we potentially create some of these spaces if we wanted to make something that has plants as part of our oasis outside? There's lots of different options. I'm going to give you kind of a few easy ones that you could try. Maybe you are an avid gardener, maybe you're just starting and you're like, I don't really know about this. Not to mention, I know you got a lot going on at home, so how much time do you really have? Think about those things. The biggest thing to think about is picking the right plants for the right spaces. So if you have a really shady area, when you're putting plants in that area, make sure they're plants that actually like to be in the shade. If it's a really sunny, hot, dry area, make sure that you're picking plants that go with that area. So first thing I'm going to talk about is containers. So my mom's going to pan over here to one of her containers that I helped put together. Containers are easy because they're easy to put together. You can do it by color scheme. You can just throw a bunch of things together that you like. Usually we do something like tall in the middle, kind of some mounding plants, and then some trailing plants around it. That doesn't take a lot of space. So let's say you just have an area on your patio for one little pot. You want to put something colorful with the chair, bam, you're done. Does require watering probably once a day, at least in Michigan, depending on the time of the summer and how hot it is. If it's been like here, it's either hotter than all ghetto and you need to water twice a day, or it's a deluge of water and you can't, the plants are dying because there's too much water. The thing that's nice about containers is it's all annuals usually, so they're going to flower all summer for you, and then you're going to rip them out when the season ends. You can change it out though, so like in the fall you could put mums and kale and pansies in there for something different, and then at Christmas time you could actually put fresh greens, branches, berries, ornaments, all kinds of fun things in there. The other nice thing about containers is you're not like stuck with the same thing every year. So you're going to rip out those annuals, next year you're going to try something totally new. So maybe you find something that, oh, that didn't really work out great this year, let's try something new for next year. So containers, they come in all different shapes, sizes. You can use pretty much anything. Always make sure you use potting soil in there that drains really well. Fertilize every week or two, you'll be good to go. Other options would be things like, the other thing I was gonna say with containers, the other thing you can do too is, like, I just have this little end table here, so maybe you have a chair and end table. You could just get a small pot, that one's a little big, but it's what I had to work with. Just put a cute little Gerber daisy or something on there. And again, voila, garden, oasis, done. Put your drink, coffee, whatever. And obviously you have to pick what time of day works for you. For a lot of moms, I think, depending on if you're a morning person, maybe getting up that 20 minutes before the kids wake up, give yourself that 5 minutes that you might have with some coffee, or if it's me, maybe with a Pepsi, that you can just have your own time. Night people, I don't know, maybe it's when the kids go to bed. Maybe that's the best option. The other option would be perennials. So those would be things like these plants here that are going to come back every year. So you plant them once, usually they should come back for you year after year. The only challenge with them is they don't bloom all summer long or all season long. So some might bloom for like 2 to 4 weeks in May, or 4 to 6 weeks in June or July. So you kind of got to stagger when they bloom and pick different plants so you have flowers all season long. But they should be lower maintenance in the long run, less watering once they're established. So over time that can be a good investment. Again, just making sure you're staggering that flowering time. And last but not least, the last thing I want to talk about was vegetables and herbs. So it's a great way for many of us to get our kids involved in gardening. I know for many of you, Laura told me with cystic fibrosis, many times the kids can't be digging in the dirt and all of that. So maybe it's not something that they can do with you, but they could reap the benefits and enjoy what your harvest is. So maybe you're out there planting your tomatoes, cucumbers, things like that, but then you get to bring them in for them to enjoy. Even something like for kids, there's lots of different theme types of gardens you can do too. For example, like a salsa garden. So you could grow tomatoes and jalapeno peppers and some sweet peppers, maybe some onions and cilantro. You could even do it all in a 4x4 raised bed. Super easy, go online. Lots of options to choose from and ways to make something like that, but easy to grow. And then again, you can make your own salsa for the family to enjoy. The other thing that's cool for kids too, to enjoy, and they can even do this from inside if they're not able to go out or things like that, is you can make something that's more themed, like a hummingbird garden that's going to attract hummingbirds, butterfly garden that's going to attract butterflies. So not only are they pretty flowers to look at, but hopefully you'll get more butterflies or hummingbirds for the kids to enjoy, or yourself to enjoy as well. I usually tend to be the one that enjoys the hummingbirds even more than my kids. So I hope today I gave you a few ideas of ways that you can hopefully bring some relaxation into the garden, into your lives. And again, it's the consistency, it's making time for that 5 minutes, or going out there to weed every couple days to give yourself some time to really enjoy being in the garden. If you have any more questions, since I'm not able to be live with you, please feel free to email me. Laura has all my information, but it's super easy, heather@bordines.com. Have a great evening, and so sorry I couldn't join you live.